Hi, I'm Lucas. I'm here to ask 73 questions.
Great, come on in.
No, honey, I think that's for me.
Oh, okay.
We'll see you later. Hi, Judge.
Hi. What's your favorite thing about real estate?
The people.
Yeah. What's the hardest part of your job?
The people.
What's real estate like working with your husband/wife?
Actually, it's pretty easy because I rarely see my husband during the day, as Lucas knows.
Are you satisfied with your choice of career?
I am.
Do you wish to choose to do real estate somewhere else other than Piedmont?
I would. I'd love to do it in Beverly Hills, and I'd also love to do it in the Hamptons in New York.
If you could change one thing in your job description, what would it be?
Oh, the brochures. I'd like someone else to do the brochures. Hi. Good. How are you? Good to see you.
Is the finance behind real estate long and kind of boring? Question mark.
Is the what? Sorry.
Is the finance behind real estate long and kind of boring?
Actually, no. I just leave it up to the mortgage broker.
Why don't you have both personal secretaries?
I'm a control freak.
Let's see. Do you look forward to retiring from real estate?
Never.
Do you ever dread coming to work?
Never.
How do you handle an emotional client?
Patience, a lot of patience, and a lot of compassion.
Driving around, is it a big part of real estate?
Huge, wouldn't you say, Lucas?
I would.
How do you balance your family and personal time between real estate?
Not very well.
Do the market prices change within every season?
They definitely do. Around the holidays, it's pretty quiet, of course. And then during May and June, graduations are pretty quiet as well because people are either graduating or headed on a vacation.
Have you ever sold real estate on the East Coast?
I haven't. That's another license.
How many clients do you become friends with?
Oh, that's hard. I love all my clients, but it's really hard to keep in touch with everyone because either people are moving or they're just busy with life. So I would say we have about 3 to 5 clients that are friends that we see regularly.
Are you able to have flexible schedules?
Very flexible.
Let's see. How hard is it to find a team like Jose's to help you with remodeling and staging?
Oh, that's hard. It took a while to cultivate. We had actually a contractor, and my dad took him. Now we have Jose, and it's awesome, but it takes a while.
Do you think where you go to school will affect your outcome in the world of real estate?
I don't. You just have to work hard and love what you do.
Have you ever sold real estate out of the country/state?
No, because it's a different license. I have a California license.
Do you always have to pick up the phone?
Yes.
Are realtors in your area competitors or colleagues? Or rivals?
I say they're colleagues. Some agents, they'll refer to us as other agents' competitors, but I'd say we're colleagues all the way. And that's where we find our success, working with other agents seamlessly.
Does fear play a part in real estate?
I guess you could say that because you never know when you're going to get your next client.
Is selling real estate harder or easier in the downtown areas?
The reason I would say harder in downtown is it's really congested and it's hard to park.
Would you spend time with your coworkers outside of real estate as friends?
For sure. One of our best friends is a realtor. She also works for our company, and she's like family now. And we've traveled to Sicily and Italy together.
Is recruiting agents a large part of your job?
It is, but I'm not good at it. Anyone who wants to be hired, I say you're hired. And it's not always the best choice.
Do animals in the office help productivity or decrease it?
I think it helps. I think people feel comfortable and at home.
What's your favorite house you've ever sold?
I would say 55 Seaview in Piedmont.
Are bigger houses harder to sell?
Not necessarily. It's not the house, it's the people you work with. So it doesn't matter if it's a small house or a big house.
Are clients a burden or a plus?
Clients are a plus as long you need clients to so you have a job, you have something to sell, or a buyer to help buy a house. It's just, there's a lot of personalities in real estate.
Does square footage change the outcome of an inspection?
I wasn't sure of that question, but the square footage will determine value for sure.
Is it harder to sell big houses or small houses?
They're all the same. You're working with people, not houses.
Do you prefer to sell houses or condos/apartments?
I would say houses. There's more people in the market for a house than there is a condo or an apartment.
Do you prefer to rent instead of sell?
Renting is nice because it's quick. You don't make as much money, but it's quick. But on the flip side, I love selling houses because I usually get to prepare them for market. And when we rent a house, we don't get to prepare them. It just goes on the market as is.
How do you make a name for yourself? And how do you get yourself out there?
Ooh, just networking, talking to people, helping in the community, helping in the schools, volunteering, and then social media, of course, and marketing and advertising.
For the work you put in, do you think you make a reasonable amount of money?
Sometimes, but other times no. Sometimes you can work on a deal for so long you're basically getting a penny a minute, a penny an hour.
Are sellers an annoying part of the job?
No, as long as they listen to me.
Has COVID affected your point of view on real estate?
Actually, COVID, fortunately for us, helped us. We were a necessity. Is that what it's called? We were. What's the word? We were a necessity. Is it a necessity? Anyway, we were real estate agents were a necessity during COVID, so we got to work during COVID, which was really fortunate because if I wasn't able to work, I do not know where I'd be today. I'd be crazy. Thank you.
Is it easier to sell a house in a richer area or a more impoverished area?
Actually, I bet you would think in a richer area, but it really depends on who your clientele is. It depends. If you work with flippers and people who are in a poor area but they're buying houses and selling and that's their gig, then they're probably doing pretty darn well. We have an agent who sells whose clients are dead people. He does. When people pass, he works with the attorneys to sell the estate. So his clients don't care don't have an opinion in the way they're preparing the house. But it just depends where your clientele is.
Does traveling play a big part of your job?
It doesn't. I wish it did, but we don't travel. We're very local, very hyper local.
How often do you sell houses in San Francisco?
Even though we know San Francisco super well, I won't go over there because the traffic is too bad. But during COVID, we sold 2 or 3 houses over there because there was no traffic and there was nothing to do outside of work.
What's your favorite area to sell houses?
I guess I'd say Piedmont. I'm from Piedmont. We raised our kids in Piedmont and it's home.
Is brokerage a big part of your job?
Brokerage is actually the company, so Highland Partners is our company, and our broker is actually my partner and husband, Adam. But a brokerage is the company.
Is paperwork fun or a drag?
Boring.
Why can real estate be so low for a minute and then become so busy within an instance?
Oh gosh, because people all of a sudden decide maybe they've been thinking about selling or buying for a while, but they don't tell you, and then when they call you, they've already gone through it in their mind and talked to many people, so by the time they call you, it's like now. So you're all of a sudden, you go from 0 to 1,000 in a minute.
Is it hard to stay healthy in real estate business?
It can be because it's your schedule, you have to schedule your workout, you have to schedule your eating. Like when I first started working with Lucas, my intern, I told him, bring food and water because I'll never know when I'm gonna eat. Today, I've only had a smoothie. Actually, let's go over here. They're having a birthday party.
What was the longest time it took to sell a house?
Oh, there were two. One was 55 Seaview, my favorite house, and that was because they didn't want to stage, and they didn't want to stage. They didn't want to sign out in front, and it was a high price point. So there were much fewer buyers in that market, in that high-end market. I think it was 7 or 8 million. Here you go.
Is helping your community a big part of real estate?
Oh, most definitely. And it's the fun part because you get to know the people who you're serving.
Dogs or cats?
Well, it used to be dogs, but now I'm a cat person. We have 2 kitties, Riggs and Weenie. Biscuit passed away, unfortunately.
Is having a big view a part of whether or not a client will buy a house?
No, it doesn't. Well, 2 things. It depends on if the people are looking for a level yard. If you're looking for a level yard, you're not going to get a view most of the time. So it's really a trade-off. And depending where you are in life, if you have young children and you want a level yard, then you're probably not going to get a view because those are on down slopes. But if you are older and you don't have little kids, yeah, a view someone might just want to have a view, and it really depends. It's a trade-off what people want.
Is marketing half your job?
Oh yes, for sure. I do it every day, whether I'm marketing myself to get business or I'm marketing the houses we're trying to sell for our client.
How do you find time to write a book?
Oh gosh, here's one of them. I do not know how I found the time, other than I was up long nights and into the morning, and one night or morning it was like 3 in the morning and I thought I heard something outside, so I called my cousin, who at the time was a Piedmont policeman, and I said, "Come, Adam's sleeping, come over here. I think there's someone outside my house." He came over, we started talking, and Adam screamed down, "Be quiet, I'm up now."
Does weather in the area affect the outcome of the sale price?
It would in other areas, like somewhere like Michigan, where they have long, cold, snowy winters. But in our area, Oakland and Piedmont and the Bay Area, the weather's always pretty mild, so we don't have huge winters or storms or heat or anything that really is going to inhibit people from looking at houses.
Are you allowed to take days off and short vacations?
You can do whatever you want, but really there's no vacation, because no matter where you are, if you're always going to be working. If you're on vacation, you're not going to not pick up the phone. So if you're poolside or you're on a boat, if that call comes in, you're picking it up. I just got a call yesterday, and they're like, and I met her 15 years ago. She's like, "Can you come over Monday or Tuesday?" I said, "Okay, I'll be there."
What's the biggest house in terms of square footage you've ever sold?
I would have to say 55 Seaview, the Otis Spunkmeyer house.
Do you prefer to communicate with clients online or in person?
In person, so whether that's on the phone or in person, but I prefer that to online. I want to speak to the person live.
To keep up with real estate, is a big part of it staying organized?
Super organized. If you're not organized and keeping all those millions of little things either organized on paper or in your head, which it should be more on paper, but I tend to do a lot in my head, you can possibly get sued if you're not super organized and keeping everything straight.
Are inspections of houses the default/norm?
Oh, they're a norm, and it used to be that the buyer would get their own home inspection, but when the market moves as fast as it does, we've had to have the seller do pre-inspections, because the market just moves too fast for there to be any time. Offers are coming in as is, so we need to have all those disclosures up front.
Does your father/father-in-law, Mr. DiMaggio, ever help you help give advice on real estate?
That is my father, Mr. DiMaggio, Vince, and he gives me advice all the time. He tends to forget I've been doing this for over 30 years.
Does real estate connect you with your community?
It sure does. Have to say hi in this short little video.
Was it hard to create a company?
You know, it was not as hard as I thought. I thought it would be a lot harder, but the one thing we had 12 years ago when we started Highland Partners, we actually had social media. I hadn't touched social media 12 years ago until we started Highland Partners. I said the fastest way to get out there is not by putting signs or magazines or ads and newspapers. It was just to get it online as fast as possible. So I really took advantage and learned social media.
Do you stay in contact with clients after you sell or rent a house to them?
I do. I just got flowers from a new client, and she said, I didn't know it was going to be so much fun knowing you. And those are the moments that I love the most.
Do you prefer the journey or the ending of each home?
Oh, the journey is so much more fun.
Are transactions fun or are they boring?
Oh, they're fun. They're always different, and they're fun. They can be stressful, but they're fun. They're never boring.
How much of an effect do schools have on selling a property?
Well, for where we sell, and the people who come here from San Francisco to buy in Piedmont, Oakland, or Berkeley, schools are hugely important.
Is it harder to sell / rent a house to families, or do people who live alone?
Oh, they're the same.
Do you ever think real estate controls your life?
Oh yes, for sure.
How does mortgage affect the outcome of the price?
Oh, huge. I mean, the buyer has to be pre-approved and they can only buy to what they can afford. But that's not to say we haven't had clients who were approved for one thing, but because they were dentists and they didn't have a much mortgage financial sense, they thought that they can afford what they wanted, even though it was outside of their price point. That was interesting.
Is it hard to find people to trust?
It can be. You have to be alert and you have to be aware. And when you meet someone that you don't trust, you have to use your intuition and you've got to drop them.
Are there times where you wish you did something else?
Actually, never.
What's your favorite area to sell / rent houses?
I would say, well, wherever there's a nice house. I like selling nice houses, but obviously super comfortable in Piedmont because I'm from here. We raised our kids here. My parents still live here. We have a long legacy here.
Do you prefer to drive around and see / supervise housework, or do you prefer to stay in the office?
Oh gosh, not in the office. That's why Adam and I work so well together. He likes to be in the office and I want to be out and about and never in the office.
Is there anything else you want to add?
Yes. If you're looking to buy or sell a house, be sure to call me, DiMaggio&Betta.com. And Lucas, my intern who I'm saying goodbye today for a couple weeks, I want to give you my book, The Art of Real Estate.